Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, bootlicker shills, debt slaves, herds, peasants, vassals, minions, meat sacks. I'm usually welcome. And Trump has announced that they're going to basically cut off federal funds for all these, for lack of a better term, welfare programs for illegals or migrants, depending on what you want to call them. And it seems perfectly reasonable. There's a 1986 law already in place that forbids any kind of federal money or welfare to go to illegals or migrants. And so this discussion out there about these programs that Trump wants to overhaul has a legal basis. It's been in place for what, 30 years now, and so apparently we need to revisit it with executive orders and further legislation, which just seems weird. The law is already in place, and somehow all these laws that we have in place already are being circumvented. And so we have sanctuary cities, we have federal money and local money all over the country going to these support programs for illegals. I'm going to go into a bunch of numbers that were supplied by a great blogger named Mish. And if any of you are interested, you should sign up for Mish's newsletter, daily newsletter, where he goes into all kinds of things about politics, economics, and geopolitics. One of the smartest guys out there. I've been watching him for years, and his information is invaluable, and he speaks in simple terms. But so the Trump program is going to do a number of things. It wants to identify all programs currently providing financial benefits to illegal aliens and take corrective action. He wants to ensure federal funds to state and localities will not be used to support sanctuary policies. He wants to have mandates, improvements to eligibility verification. That seems perfectly reasonable. Just identify whether they're legal citizens or not. And then he wants to find out if the funds that are committed go to citizens, including disabilities and veterans. They should get preference before illegals, and that makes sense as well. So according to the Center for Immigration Studies, a totally legit organization, 1 million illegals cost $3 billion annually. So if you do the math, if we have, say, 15 million illegals, that's $145 billion annually going to support illegals coming into this country. U.S. Homeland Security said that $451 billion is what it costs to take care of illegals since 2021. That's a lot of money, $450 billion that should be going to U.S. citizens, not people that cross the border illegally and then somehow access all kinds of benefits in this country, including all kinds of states that issue driver's licenses. And I think if it's all done legally and they have work visas and the like, then they should get driver's licenses to be able to do work in this country. And I have no problem with migrants coming to this country, maybe temporarily or on temporary visas, to come in and do work. Makes total sense. The numbers continue. Federation of American Immigration Reform calculates that we spend $182 billion annually to cover the cost of 20 million illegals and their children, including $66 billion from the federal government and then another $115 billion for local governments. The Congressional Budget Office says that $16.2 billion worth of Medicaid access and emergency services has been given to illegals. And then Biden gave billions in taxpayer money to left-wing groups that facilitated mass migration and their legal services, because a lot of the illegals are certainly involved in the legal system. And so American taxpayers are paying for that to challenge deportation orders and the like. And $1 billion of FEMA money since 2021 has gone to illegals as well. And I find this all perfectly reasonable. We have a law that says that illegals do not have access to federal funds and or programs, And we find major cities across the U.S. like Chicago and New York that have huge financial burdens now. Look at New York City, where 175 hotels are given out to migrants. They're able to access American schools. They're able to access American medical services. They get help with housing. They get food stamps. No wonder all these people are crossing the border, because word travels. You cross the border illegal, you come in here and you get all kinds of free money, and that's absolutely true. And that's what's been happening certainly for the last 4 years, and for many years before that. And I think this directly addresses a problem that a lot of Americans have. For example, if money from FEMA is going to illegals, and then victims of catastrophes like the fires in California or the hurricane in North Carolina, they're given $700 one-time checks, and yet illegals are accessing billions of dollars. That just doesn't seem fair. And it also doesn't seem fair, as this Trump program points out, that American citizens with disabilities and veterans, particularly with all the homeless veterans we have in this country, uh, shouldn't that money be going to American citizens who are in need, rather than migrants who cross the border and get this cornucopia of benefits? So I'm all on board for this program. I just like anybody else, I feel for people that take these treacherous routes all the way up from South America through Mexico and cross the border and come here, and they need some kind of support. But the fact is that all this federal and local money going to them to support them just just seems legitimate, that all those kind of benefits could better serve American citizens. A lot of American citizens are hurting in this country. I think the poverty rate in the U.S. right now is about 20%. Is it 13, 20%? Um, and then, of course, exploding homeless populations in the United States. I think all that money should be benefiting American citizens. And I, just like anyone else, I definitely feel for the migrants, and they need some support, they need some help. But what's going on now is really pretty ridiculous and needs to stop. So this is another Trump program I'm completely on board with. And if you ask the citizens of Chicago and New York and Baltimore and all these large cities, particularly lower class citizens, they're outraged by this, and they rightly should be. So anyway, I'm all for this program, and any American citizen who looks at all the realities of it should be too. We're talking about some serious money here, and people shouldn't be rewarded for breaking the law and then coming to the U.S. And especially, of course, the criminal elements we've seen. They're obviously getting these benefits and then benefiting themselves by coming to the U.S. and perpetrating crimes. So, yeah, go get them. I'm Brian Fox, aka a useful idiot. Don't you be one too.